Alright, we're back with another build. This one is a Curtis Mathis record player cabinet converted into Zenith with all Zenith parts. As the Zenith record player, amplifier, and speakers were the only components I was able to find that worked. So at this point, I've already put lots of hours into fixing it up, lots of wood filler, sanding, putting vinyl wrapping over some of the pieces that were too bad, and putting layers and layers of spray paint to get it ready. But we missed all that because I started this a long time ago before I started recording any type of content or anything like that. So once I got everything ready for paint, it was just a brutal process. Painting outside, in my garage, whatever, it was bad. So these are awesome little lights you could think about getting. They're magnetic on the back. They swivel every which way and you just clamp them on something metal. So at this point, I knew I was going to have to make a paint booth. Every time I would get the paint right, freaking mosquito or dust or something would land on the cabinet and just screw it all up. So I got to building a paint booth. So I knew I'd probably have to build this thing like into the fence because that skinny piece of PVC pipe would probably just blow away. And hey, there's Mo and Laura. They helped a lot. I love them. Anyways, yeah, I just built connectors and latched it onto the fence. It worked pretty good. And to secure all this down, I just used zip ties on the bottom and clamps on the top. And I just cut the zip ties off when we're done and works fine. Didn't have to use too many zip ties. So yeah, I just used 3 screws on the edge of the door and just clamped those little ring hooks on the tarp to use as my door. It worked fine. This part was actually really fun. Getting everything finally prepped to paint inside the booth. Make sure and blow off all the sediment and use some denatured alcohol and really get it cleaned. And then get in my paint suit, which was badass. Felt like I was in Breaking Bad or something. But yeah, I didn't get to record painting the cabinet inside the booth because it was pretty cramped in there. But thank God it worked out pretty good. It's kind of hard to see in there, but it did the job. I only got one little spot that was too much paint, so I had to redo this area. And it just dripped, so just use denatured alcohol. It's kind of like a wipe away, and maybe a little sanding, and then use the air compressor to blow it dry real good before painting it again. But I was able to show you what it looked like painting inside the paint booth with some smaller bits. Really awesome. Use a little box fan over there just to blow everything out. It works great. So now I had to use this vinyl wood veneer like stuff to cover 2 of the new drawers and cabinet cover things. It was pretty easy. This stuff was pretty fun actually. Uh, yeah, just wrap it real good, real tight. Cut away the excess with a razor blade. I used a heat gun to make sure all the bubbles were out from the ends underneath it and pressed it down and then kind of gave it a good scoring with the denatured alcohol before the paint and worked out fine. I will say after I was done, I noticed I probably should have sanded it more because it still has a wood-like texture, and the rest of the cabinet is completely smooth. So you could kind of tell there was something different there, but not a huge thing. But if I could go back and do it again, I would sand that veneer vinyl stuff a lot more to get it smooth and use more paint. So yeah, I got those drawers, cabinet cover, whatever the hell they're called, things hung up and prepped and ready to paint, and gave everything else a good cleaning off before I installed the drawers and whatnot. When I got to installing the drawers, I recommend this little thing I found offline somewhere. I don't know, it's good for like 90-degree stuff, which is always a pain in the ass. So finally got everything done, painted, and the fun part is finally here. We're ready to install all the parts. So here is the front plate I stole from the Zenith that had writing like bass and treble on it, which I just sanded off. It was much bigger too, and I just cut it and sanded the edges. Here is the record player cabinet that I stole from the Zenith and put in the Curtis Mathis drawer. And the most important part, the amplifier. These things are priceless. Those little tubes are like $150, so I had to really baby this thing along the way. And there's the speakers that I stole from that cabinet and some of the parts I'll be using. But now we're going to create a little drawer here that you open up and you'll be able to put your record that you're listening to right there. Before I had to do that, I had to create the templates for the masonite bottoming of the cabinet. This is actually really fun. It brought me back to my skateboard days when we'd try to find some masonite to cover our launch ramps or vert ramps with. But, sometimes you get bored and you got to tackle another little fun project to keep you interested, keep you going. This is probably my favorite part of the whole cabinet. This little wooden button I made. I stole this Zenith crown badge off the front of the speaker cabinet. And where I'm putting this, there was an old Curtis Mathis emblem, and I replaced it with this little crown button I made out of wood. Yep, there we are. So it fits right here. Tight like a glove. Square that bad boy up. Make sure it fits. Looking good. Put some wood glue behind that later. And that is awesome and ready to go. So now I had to install the amplifier, which was super nerve-wracking. I went ahead and got the help from the old lady. Laura came out and helped hold the amplifier and made sure I didn't break it. But back to building, we had to use some plexiglass for the drawer that we're going to make, and just cut it out of plexiglass and use the sander to get it level. I just use the glass down there to make sure I'm getting it level enough, and then use a sponge sander to clean up the edges. And I used quarter round for the molding of the cabinet. Worked out all right. Just little hinges for the top part. So this is another one of my favorite parts. I stole this badge off the front of the speaker cabinet as well, and just cut the edges off and sanded down the edges, and I'm using that as the emblem for the front of the cabinet we're building. And I just used double-sided tape to mount it, because I'm pretty ghetto. There we are. Nice and neat. Now, this is actually one of my favorite parts of the video, because if you were to follow me along for the whole build, shit like this would be happening to me all the time. Idiot. Good. Good. So, anyways, got the knob fit on and taken over to the cabinet. I had no idea how I was going to get those top hinges onto the cabinet. So I just decided to use double-sided tape and then get an old flathead screwdriver and press those to the top of the cabinet like I'm doing right there, and hold it in place long enough for me to punch the holes and give me enough time to screw it in. And now I had to hammer in the masonite bottom, which you'd think would be easy, but it's freaking not, because the nails are too small. You want to go in. Anyways, my friends Sandra and Casey came over and helped me finalize the electrical, get it all running, put in the cabinet, front drawer, slider opener things, and we are good to go. Yeah, came out great. Still got a bunch of stuff to do. Still some adjustments on this little cabinet. Need to make it smoother. Just need to sand this part off a little bit more. You got the record you're listening to in here. Pretty cool. Just a little sand in there. And this, not like it was originally. It's pretty cool too. Everything works good. I still need to do some plating on the parts from the hardware. Still pretty stiff from all the new paint. This is still my favorite part. Little Zenith button I made. Yeah, gonna rock it for a while, break it in and stuff, clean it up again, make the final adjustments. But hope y'all like it. Thanks for watching.